Deep beneath Paris lies a twisting labyrinth of tunnels lined with the bones of millions. While many eerie stories have emerged from the catacombs, none have gripped the internet like the footage found in an abandoned camcorder capturing a man's terrifying final moments before vanishing into the dark. Today, we explore the mystery of the Paris Catacombs Found Footage. This is Red Web. Welcome back, Task Force, to another episode of Red Web, the podcast all about unsolved mysteries, true crime, and the unknown. I am your resident mystery enthusiast, Trevor Collins, and joining me hearing this case for the very first time, Alfredo Diaz.
Yes, indeed, the man that does not want to mess with anything, shape, or form remotely evil or ghastly or murderous or nefarious. But I show up week after week. Okay. A lot to be said about this one. First off, time to TTM, time to movie. You know what I mean? You got to talk about the found footage. What is it called? Was it literally called?
As Above, So Below?
As Above, So Below. Great found footage movie. I don't think we've watched it yet.
Not yet.
But we have talked about it.
That's a good one for Movie Club.
Yeah, we've talked about watching that for Movie Club. That's a found footage horror movie based on the Paris Catacombs. That being said, to hear that there's an actual found footage mystery that took place in the Paris Catacombs is absolutely, I don't know, I'll say the word cool.
It's cool. It's fascinating.
It's fascinating. It's tragic. This is someone that disappeared or passed away, etc. But to know that there is a film, and I guess at this point kind of based on reality. I'm sure they took it. I mean, they took it and they glorified it.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's found footage, I mean, that's movie stuff. But also, do we have access to the found footage?
Oh, yeah, there we go.
That's interesting. Also, I think I knew at some point why there were so many bodies buried in the catacombs. But interested to know a little bit more about that. Kind of like a refresher. But this is just interesting. In general, I mean, this is, again, I would say turn this into a movie. It's been turned into a movie. And so I'm really eager to learn more about essentially the real life version of what happened.
Yeah, dude. This is a really fascinating mystery, kind of internet phenomenon. It's really taken the internet by storm. I'm going to walk you through the entire origins of it and everything. But of course, I'm glad you're asking the right questions, because we're going to get to each and every one of those. I'm definitely going to start with a very crash course style history on the catacombs themselves, because I feel like we've all heard of the catacombs. We know that they're kind of eerie. They're the inspiration for a lot of spooky stories, like you're talking about that movie As Above, So Below, which is phenomenal. These characters have to keep going deeper and deeper as they're chased by entities and they experience things. And what a wonderful movie. But yeah, let's talk about what it is and where it really comes from, why it's there. Why are there millions of bones beneath the city of Paris? But with that also, I really want to this is almost like me scratching my own itch. I'm fresh off of recovery from a surgery, so this is me kind of stretching my legs into a fun one. This is something that I've known about for quite some time. And I was talking with Christian about it. He also knows about this. And I was like, well, I feel like we got to break it down. What is this thing? Why does it capture the attention of so many people? And is it real? I think this is a fundamental question about this found footage. Is it real? Why or why not? That's really kind of all of the exploration that we're going to have today, in addition to analyzing as much as we can forensically the details of this video. But you're asking all the right questions.
Yeah, so you talked about in the intro how the last footage is the person going into the dark.
Yeah.
So did they set the camera down and just walked into the dark?
Ooh, oh, you know what? I feel like we got to start at the top showing you this video. Okay.
Okay.
Again, we're going to break down all the details. Task Force, we will put one of the many archival links to this video in the description. It is uploaded by a YouTuber named Internet Mysteries Archive. It's pretty low res because it stems from the early 2000s. It made it from TV, was scanned in, and it's available in many different places. It's been rebroadcast on many different channels, but let me go ahead and grab that link for you. We're going to stop down while you watch this thing, And I will
God.
talk about the history of the catacombs. I'll work my way back up to the video, and Task Force, we will walk you through this video if you're driving and listening and you don't want to stop down to watch it yourselves. So rest assured, we will make sure you know what's going on as well. But Fredo, you go ahead and just get your sneak peek in. I want you to see this as we dive in.
Okay, automatically, we're in some tunnels. It's black and white, and there's a guy holding the camera going through. He's narrating, he's saying this.
So the guy we hear, I'll tell you,
Is not, now it sounds like it's not the person with the camera. It's someone narrating what's
Correct.
going on.
Yeah, this is a hypercut. We'll get in there.
Dude, he is deep in there. Oh my God, is he holding a skull? He's holding a skull that's cracked in half.
Mm-hmm.
What? So there's all kinds of markings and like symbols. So I mean, like the narrator's talking about, we may be able to trace his steps, and I would think so. There's some pretty significant markers here. There was a painting on a wall of essentially like a body just fully fanned out, and so you can kind of retrace where he went. Dude, he is in here. Hell no.
He is in here.
He might have heard something because he is running now. He's breathing heavily. He's going further in, dude. Sorry, what? Okay, so the video camera like falls over and it's like sideways on the ground, and then maybe you see like a splash of water or something.
Yeah.
Bro, hell no. Like hell to the no, man. Like what do you mean talking about you're gonna go down these tunnels? Probably got people in there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Would not be surprised you turn a corner and there's just like 10 butt naked dudes in a circle.
Why, it's gotta be fully naked.
Just fully naked,
bald head to
dude.
toe.
Just slinging dong around a campfire, chanting some weird stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, pig's head or something like that. Like you're gonna see some kind of weird like that down there, regardless of like if you think there are paranormal things or if you come across a paranormal entity.
Mm-hmm.
No, man. Like hell to the no. It's dark as hell, and it's tunnels, and it's a maze, and the dude's running, and he's just going deeper into it. And I don't. Nope. Couldn't pay me. No. Like he went by himself too. That's wild.
It's pretty wild. Yeah.
I'm also interested to see how the camera was retrieved. I will say, even though he was deep in the catacombs, there were markings and paintings from people and like
yes,
arrows pointing to directions and stuff. So people,
Mm-hmm.
you know, go down there often or often enough. And so I'm thinking maybe a group of people were like, yeah, let's go mess around the catacombs, and then found the camera and brought it back or something.
Yeah, dude. I'm glad we got your eyes on it because there's a few things that stood out to me, but I've seen it so many times. So you have a lot of really interesting reactions, seeing paintings on the walls. How is the camera found? All these questions are super important to the analysis of this video. So we're going to talk about all of that. And while I'm talking about it, I do want to mention Task Force, sign up, support us directly at redwebpod.com. This week on Red Web, we have a poll to determine a future movie club episode. So if you want to determine what we're going to watch, what we're going to talk about, that's happening on Wednesday.
Please let it be something good, like peaceful. I don't know, like a Teletubby episode or something like that. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, let it be something peaceful, you know? We'll throw Teletubbies in there,
Oh no,
which is
that'll
kind
win.
of creepy in its own way.
That'll win.
Yeah, it will. And then Friday this week, we also have an actual movie club, so come hang out, check it out with us. All right, Task Force, we are jumping in here just real quick to say, oh my God, Fredo, a huge thank you, Task Force, so much. We are in real time coming a few days after the 5-year anniversary stream where you guys crushed it. We had so much fun, over 13 hours playing so many different games, having some fun creative, some case files, some icebergs, some tier lists. A lot of fun was had. Those recordings are up now on YouTube and Patreon. Segments are going to go up later. But you guys, let me just jump to the chase. You helped us raise $32,254 towards our stretch goals.
Blew our estimates right out of the water by so much. And we're so thankful.
much.
And because of that, you guys have absolutely crushed all the stretch goals. We had a tier 1, and we were talking about like, you know, we should maybe possibly have a tier 2. But you guys have unlocked so many things. A mini vlog series. You also have 2 piloted shows, case files, and we got a ghost hunt. And then in tier 2, we ended up having more stuff. Another case files episode, but this one with an experiment. And there's going to be an episode of Red Web Goes Smutty. We're going to talk about some smut. Then we're going to return to Yorktown, where the home of Baby Hands is. Baby Hands,
Baby Hams,
dude.
dude.
We need to find Baby Ham. That's
Baby
awesome.
Ham says, tiny cheeks, big hands. Baby hands, tiny hands, big cheeks.
Yeah, Baby Hams.
I like that.
And so we've unlocked so many things: Red Web Radio, Red Web on the road. We're gonna travel to a famous haunted spot. So many ghost hunts. It's very unfortunate. I don't know why you guys did this to me, but here we are. But you guys absolutely killed these stretch goals.
Dude, Task Force, thank you so much. And you can still support these stretch goals right now, all the way to the end of the month, which I believe is this Thursday, July 31st. That's when our merch goes away. So this is the last couple of days to get your 5-year anniversary merch. I'm wearing the minimalist version of the shirt. We got a graphic tee, 2 hoodies, a hat and a mug, lots of things to continue supporting us with. But seriously, thank you so much. The whole goal here, Fredo, was to launch 2 new pilots to see what you guys think about our next steps, how Red Web can grow. Everything else was kind of icing on the cake, and you blew it out of the water, and now we're coming at you with so much goodness.
And now I have a tummy ache because there was so much icing.
Seriously, thank you all so much. Can't wait. But back to the episode. All right, so with our shout outs aside, your fresh reactions to this video aside, let's dive in. Let's talk about the catacombs. I think that's super important because, again, we're all kind of familiar with the catacombs, but why are they and what are they? So in the late 18th century, Paris cemeteries were overflowing and causing the foundation of buildings to collapse. And so they decided to exhume these bodies that had been buried here and move them somewhere else. All of this trouble essentially started happening around 1785. Now, it was decided that the new resting site for these millions of bodies would be the former limestone quarries that actually lay beneath much of Paris. Now, these quarries were actually the source of limestone that the city of Paris was built upon in the first place. And so, in order to establish the city, they dug down, found limestone, pull it up. That's what's laying the foundation. And so now they have all of these tunnels, and they're saying, well, we're not really in there now. They're stable. Maybe let's just move things there. And so in 1810, the creation of the Mausoleum of Bones officially began. Beyond this morbid museum of bones and skulls lies an extensive tunneling system. Just to give you an idea of the size, these tunnels cover over 186 miles or 300 kilometers. These tunnels are leftover passageways from this old mine, from this quarry. And the rest of the catacombs are completely unmapped. It's labyrinthian. It's like a maze down there due to the fact that the mining project was never charted. These were never necessarily meant to be accessed. They were like, listen, we're digging up limestone where we're finding it. We're digging tunnels. It doesn't really matter. We figure out the rhyme and reason of our patterns. That's all that matters. Mm-hmm. So really, it was never meant to be something like this or to be toured, but it's sprawling, it's labyrinthian, it's unmapped, and at its furthest depth, down from street level, the catacombs reach as far down as around 100 feet underground. That's an important note because I've seen some people say further or less, but in general, I think 115 or so feet under the street level is as deep as it goes, and the deepest publicly accessible areas reach as deep as 20 meters or about 65 feet. So it is worth mentioning that a small section of the catacombs are built for public access, for tours and things, but a majority of it is left kind of unvisited. It's illegal to get to, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. You can get to it, I suppose, but it's illegal to be there. It'd be like trespassing. So in total, the bones of over 6 million people were buried here. Combined with its twisting, narrow hallways, you can see why the catacombs are front and center for many terrifying stories and urban legends.
That's so many. That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm surprised. 6 million people. That is a hell of an effort.
Yes, it is.
But it's not surprising when you see the images and you see literally like walls of skulls and things. It's like 28 years later out there. So that then brings us to this video. Now, we already went over it, but this is a 1.5 minute long video that's been shared online since at least 2010, though I'm sure it's made its way to the internet prior to that. So we already had you watch it. Task Force, of course, we're going to walk you through a verbal description of essentially all the things that Fredo reacted to. But in this video, you see that it starts in a hallway, and it looks black and white, but upon closer inspection, it does appear to be night vision. It's also got a 4:3 aspect ratio and shows the point of view somebody exploring, obviously, the Paris Catacombs. This is most likely a camcorder, and to me, there's a few details immediately that stand out. The aspect ratio. This can help us figure out a time frame for when this was filmed, but also the fact that, assuming that this is a consumer-grade camera, night vision will also allow us to figure out when this might have been filmed. Of note, no matter where you look online, there is some watermark in the bottom right corner. In the case of the one that we're going to leave in the comments, it is ABC Family. For the sake of the screenshots that I'll show you, because they're slightly higher quality, it's from a longer video with other elements. It's got the sci-fi logo in there, but we'll talk more about why later on. So this video starts at about chest height. It's unmoving at first. It's kind of a millennial pause, so to speak, and we see a stony passageway that goes down about 20 feet and then jogs to the left as it goes down another passage. The person filming is still for about a second before they start to jog down the hallway. You hear their feet kind of slapping the ground. The feet are stomping, they're moving down this hallway. As they get to that small jog to the left, they see an arrow pointing left with a kind of Z spray painted on the wall. Now, unfortunately, this footage doesn't really exist in its full uncut length, and we see the first of several jump cuts at this point. So to me, immediately, I'm like, oh, I hate that there's an edit. I want to see everything. And we'll talk about that as well. Now, ultimately, we watch as this person seems to explore the catacombs, picking up pieces of skulls and bones, shining their flashlight down dark passageways, things like that. Now, the person seems to stop periodically and film rooms and areas strewn about with bones. And throughout the footage, we see more arrows, random letters, some symbols spray painted on the ground and on the walls. I believe at one point some bones are laid out in the pattern of an arrow. And as you astutely pointed out, Fredo, there's a point where they come down a very dark hallway. They aim their flashlight up at the ceiling, and you see what looks like a flayed man from Game of Thrones. Arms up, legs out,
yes,
painted onto the walls, and kind of looks at it for a little bit before turning and moving into a different area. Now, this is another interesting detail for those trying to discern the location and depth of these particular passages. This would allow explorers to potentially, as you said, Fredo, retrace the cameraman's steps, figure out where they were, and maybe hopefully figure out where they disappeared to and what their fate was. Now, this is also interesting to me because many people regard this footage in awe, saying that it's clear that this person is deep in the catacombs given that there's no visible graffiti, implying that it's less trafficked, right? But as you astutely pointed out, and I saw almost immediately, it's not like the walls are covered with designs. I mean, there aren't tags all over the place, but given that it's only a minute and a half long, there are quite a few symbols and things painted on the walls. So it's not like it's barren. I don't know what the truly deep areas of the catacombs actually look like, to be fair, but it's interesting to see the conversation exist in the same space. Some say it's so deep there's no paintings, and others say this is actually not that deep. There are paintings here, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in the kind of analysis of this video. Now, this is where the video goes from kind of interesting as the person is exploring to a little bit more unsettling. As the video goes on, the man behind the camera seems to get more panicked. He's breathing heavier, he's running a little quicker, he's stomping more, and you are hearing splashes. There's water present in these tunnels, which does indicate that they're down at some of the lower depths. This goes on for quite a bit until they seem to bump into some of the walls, the camera starts to glitch a little bit, and then they drop the camera into a puddle. And you see one final splash right in front of the camera as the person, very blurry, very dark, disappears, running off into the dark of the catacombs. This is said to be where the camera was found. The footage continued until either the battery ran out or until the footage ran out, but this is the end of the video.
Yeah, I mean, it ends like it is a damn movie. It really does. And then you don't see much, though. Don't see much.
You don't see much. And it's really frustrating because, sure, it's probably a camcorder from the 90s. We'll talk about that. But, like, those are already low-res enough because we're in this era of moving to digital away from film. And so there's lost media, lost detail there. But then it's also compressed heavily from people archiving this. And so it just gets compressed and compressed. But
yeah.
This episode of Red Web is sponsored by Mint Mobile. Task Force, you know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? Getting burned by your old wireless bill. While you're planning your beach trips, barbecues, 3-day weekends, and everything else like this, your wireless bill should be the last thing holding you back, and that's why you should switch to Mint Mobile. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switching is super easy. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of unlimited service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. Task Force, I have to be honest with you, I made the switch to Mint Mobile and I have it on my old phone here, my iPhone X. I have to say, switching was super easy. I love the fact that I keep my number and my contacts, plus the fact that I kind of live in a dead area for most of the other carriers. I have had zero issues with drop calls or any sort of interference when I have my weekly family calls back with my family, and it never drops. I never have any issues, and so I really appreciate that. Plus, it does save me a good amount every single month. And still, it keeps that unlimited plan. It's got everything I'm looking for, so I really do appreciate Mint Mobile here. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer with your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/redweb. That's mintmobile.com/redweb. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent of $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. As the story goes, the Paris Catacombs Found Footage was discovered sometime in the 1990s, and the person who filmed it has never been identified, least of all found. So whoever this was, not identified, but they might still be down there, is kind of the story. The Paris Catacombs Found Footage is commonly grouped with other internet mysteries similar to the grave robbing for morons video that we talked about a while back. Though it originally debuted on a television show, Scariest Places on Earth, it has really taken the internet by storm. It's just become one of those viral internet sensations that every few years it kind of gets another swell up of people finding it and going, what is happening? Is this real? What happened to this person? Because it just has so many intriguing questions. But Scariest Places on Earth is an interesting show. I did used to watch this one. It was hosted by none other than Linda Blair. And this show originally ran on Fox Family for a few years before it then moved to ABC Family, which is why it has that watermark down there.
Yeah.
And then eventually I think the show was syndicated, which is why it then has the sci-fi logo on there. So it's made its way around the various...
it's been around.
Yeah. Now this particular episode, I wanted to go look it up, and I believe it originally aired in the Paris Catacombs episode on October 24th in the year 2000. In this particular episode, there was a filmmaker named Francis Friedland who claims the camera containing this tape was discovered by catacombs explorers, also known as cataphiles.
Cataphiles.
I feel like we got to get you guys a new name.
We need to change that, man. Cataphile? Come on, bro.
What are you doing to those catacombs?
Yeah, what are you doing up there?
So yeah, this filmmaker is here on the show. He's the primary talking head describing what the footage has. He says this came to him from somebody who stumbled across it while exploring the catacombs. And that's exactly what these explorers are. You know, cataphiles are people who explore the areas of the catacombs that are cut off from the public. They look for spots around Paris in order to get inside and explore. And like I said, it is technically illegal. So any of our Parisian task force members or European task force members, be cautious, obviously, if you're going to go trouncing through the Paris catacombs or find your way down one of these hatches, trying to get up through other ones, they could be locked. And so it is illegal and quite dangerous. I mean, there's been a lot of erosion over the many years, over the 200 plus years. Some of the areas are unstable. There's flooding throughout. Like we saw some puddles, but some of the tunnels are said to be completely submerged. Beyond that, it's unmapped. So even if people know you're down there, it's like rescuing you is like, well, I don't know where to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good idea at all. And the thing is, like, you could do a tour, do the tour.
Yeah, dude, I would love to do a tour. Even
then, it's like, if you were to step into the illegal territory, I don't know, maybe do like 10 feet of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did it. Yeah. I'm on the illegal side. Most people don't come on this side. But then,
yeah, I'm a tough mofo.
Right.
Toe goes in.
Yeah, and then what happens is you go, well, okay, maybe do another step, and then all of a sudden you're like a mile deep, and then you're lost and never to be found.
And then the demons have their grip on you, and you're no longer as hard as you thought you were. just tiptoeing 10 feet in. I don't know, man. Someday I'll drag you down there. We'll see. We'll do a little ghost hunt down there, and you signed the contract. I just didn't tell you the fine print.
Yeah, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna look from the outside and go haunted, and then we're just done. Did the episode. We're good.
He was once again there for me, but literally over there for me down here.
Lock it in. Haunted.
Listen, there's going to be a day, Christian, where we decide to do another ghost hunt. And this man, I'm going to be outside looking at the Victorian era door, and I'm ready to go in, and an iPad on wheels is going to roll up. And he's like, yep, I'm ready. Here we go. And even still, he'll have a helmet on, and he'll have his holy juices.
Oh, completely. I'll have like different little trinkets from different religions dangling. You know what I mean? I could probably like a one-time use, just spray out some salt or something like that, or holy water. Let's go.
And it's just a spoon ratcheted back with a rubber band or something.
Exactly. Like one time use. You know what I'm saying? I got like one shot, one opportunity.
Yeah. And it's going to go right in my eye.
yeah. Ooh, it really did shoot at an angle, didn't it?
Yeah. That one must have gotten bumped in transit. Okay. So here is where, I want to come to the kind of conclusion of the backstory of this video before we dive into a deeper analysis. But Friedland, frustratingly, to me personally, claims that this full video is actually around 40 minutes long, and that the person started running towards the end of this duration. So what we're finding here is that the minute and a half that's made it to the internet is the minute and a half that was aired in that television show. And I'm thinking,
oh my God,
my guy, the data hoarders of the internet would love all 40 minutes. Put them out. I want to see them.
Yes.
What are we missing? What are we hiding?
Oh my goodness. Show me the whole thing.
Yeah. So again, Friedland said that he was given the tape by an unnamed cataphile who discovered it while they were exploring the catacombs, but he does not otherwise know himself who filmed it. And so immediately, I got a couple of orange flags ticking up.
Right.
We got a filmmaker who found a tape from a mysterious person who was filmed by a mysterious person.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of gaps in the knowledge. I just hate them gaps, Now, the screenshots I provided came from a longer video, also available on YouTube if you want to find it, from that particular episode. People have documented it. And in that episode, there are clips where Friedland is actually in the catacombs exploring with some of the TV's team. And I believe some of the catacombs explorers as well. And it is said that they apparently made it to the location where this camera was found. Again, it's really hard to tell. A lot of cuts, a lot of jumps, blurry because of time and compression algorithms and things. But it seemed that it took a lot of exhaustive hiking for the team to get through these tunnels to the spot where the camera was found. And so it does seem to be deep into the tunnels.
I mean, at least they went with a crew and everything, and it was safer. But also, I guess like they got the permission to go to the area.
I would imagine so.
I would imagine so too. But it's interesting that's like, I guess if you have enough money, you get permission to go to this illegal part of it.
That, or they just said, you know what? Let's take a few lights, a camera, and a couple guys, and we'll just go through it, and we'll beg for forgiveness after. I don't know. But throughout the TV show, like I said, he's the main talking head, analyzing the footage, providing the commentary on what the man might be thinking or doing. And ultimately, the camera continued to roll after the person disappeared until it ran, like I said, out of battery or film. And that's where you get that probably 40 minutes from. But from here, Friedland believes that the mysterious cameraman became forever lost somewhere in the catacombs, his body and therefore identity having never been discovered.
That's the thing. His body never being discovered. Like, how deep was he? I mean, like, also the crew, I'm sure they got permission. They went down there, they looked. And then on top of that, I'm sure they did some extra exploring just to see maybe we could find the body. But I guess nowhere to be found. That's the interesting thing. But then I'm guessing also as well, this person never turned up in terms of like the real world, like didn't pop up on like a job application or debit card usage or anything like that.
He's buying some tacos down there.
Maybe, I don't know. Well, maybe he got out and then he's like, okay, you know what I mean?
Then he was
like,
famished. No, for sure. I mean, here's the thing. Maybe he did get out.
and they didn't have Uber Eats back then, so.
No, they didn't. You had to be your own Uber.
Yeah.
He might have popped out. He might have bought a corn dog at a stand somewhere. You know, you're famished after exploring. Yeah, pop back in. But here's the thing. Like, would we be able to align that if we don't know who we're looking for in the first place, right?
Dang, yeah, you're right. There's that aspect.
I mean, you might be able to triangulate, okay, where is this tunnel geographically under the cities? Are there any purchases happening around? But we don't know when is the problem. And so there's a lot of gaps in the analytical knowledge. And before we dive into the analysis I've kind of laid out here, Fredo, you have some really great questions. I think we've talked about a few so far. A lot of them still yet to come as we analyze two different answers here. But do you have any final thoughts or initial thoughts as we dive into this analysis?
I mean, I'm interested to see if there's anything that makes it not just a theatrical like hoax. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really cool found footage. And again, what's this? You said 40 minutes?
40 minutes?
The original? Oh man, to be able to watch that in itself would have been something. So I think that's my biggest thing, is to see if there's any type of evidence or anything tangible whatsoever that gives more legitimacy to this found footage.
Right. Because
I mean, the guy was down there. He was down there.
The guy was down there.
He was.
Someone was down there. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is already a feat in itself to be down there by yourself like that. But, you know, to see like, was he lost? Did he ever pop up? I mean, I guess we don't know who he is, right? Like, it's the mystery. So we'll see. Right.
And I mean, it's harrowing. And so like part of you wants to believe it in some sort of way because like there is the natural attraction to the macabre and to the intrigue and to the unknown. But also part of us is sitting here going like, well, I don't want it to be real because it's a man disappearing.
Yeah.
So what is really happening here? And we've done many mysteries where it's kind of two answers. And in this case, we have an A and a B. And so let's break it down. In case A, we have an unknown catacombs explorer that filmed their final moments. They disappeared after they dropped their camera and ran off, terrified of something. This leaves us with a few questions. Who were they? And what happened down there? Why did they run off? And then you have case B. This asks the question, is this footage real? There are many who believe it is, but many others who have shared their skepticism, and perhaps for good reason. So we're going to tackle these in this order, starting with a man being lost in the catacombs. Now, as always, it's an unsolved case, and so there's not a lot of tangible evidence beyond the tape itself pointing to the authenticity of it. That said, we can address elements of the video to see if the tape being real makes more sense than the case for it being fake or a hoax or what have you. So with that, let's talk about others being lost in the catacombs. If it was real, somebody being lost, you would expect there to be a history. And there is a history of people being lost in the catacombs, terrifyingly. But it's also quite short. So let's dive in. 61-year-old Philibert Aspert went missing in 1793 during the French Revolution. He was working at the military hospital, Val de Grace, which had a connection down into the catacombs through the hospital courtyard. It's unclear how exactly he went missing or why he went into the catacombs in the first place. Maybe he was hiding from something. We don't know. But it wasn't until 1804, 11 years later, that his body was found, ironically, near an exit. Now, he is the only known death in the catacombs. We had to go back over 200 years to find the first known person being lost in the catacombs and dying in the catacombs. Now, there was a situation much more recently.
200 years ago?
200 years ago, 1793.
Jesus.
Now, much more recently, in 2017, there was another situation in which 2 teen boys were missing in the catacombs for 3 days. Again, it's unclear how the 2 got in, and it took rescue dogs sniffing their scent out in order to find them in these unmapped tunnels. And both of them had suffered hypothermia because it gets quite cold, you're wet down in there. And so, yeah, down in the crust of the earth, there's geothermal, but there's also like, you can just get cold. It's so insulated by rock, I guess.
Yeah, that's still wild though. That I don't know. You just wouldn't think that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't think that like bundle up were layers.
It wouldn't be my first instinct either, but it's definitely something we're going to talk about as we talk about this interesting individual and what might have happened to them, assuming this was real. So other than these two cases, it does not appear that people get lost in the catacombs very often. Though just because it's rare doesn't mean that it can't happen. It's something that I wanted to really analyze because we're talking about what would be the second or third disappearance in the catacombs history, right? So it's very possible that this person went down there and they were exploring 30, 40 minutes of exploring. Maybe they saw something. Maybe they heard something. There are people to be known being down in there, whether they're explorers or otherwise. Some people think that the person might have started suffering from claustrophobia, not knowing where the nearest exit is, and then they struggled to find their way out, and this panic just kind of escalated like a snowball effect. And in this panic, maybe they also experienced hypothermia. All of these things are on the table, but either way, they might have gotten disoriented and ended up in one of the many unmapped tunnels never to be found. And you have to think somebody dropping their camera, which is one of their only ways to see outside of their flashlight, would definitely require somebody to be confused or dazed in some way.
Yes.
As for the video itself, I kind of highlighted some of those details earlier, but the 4:3 aspect ratio certainly makes sense for the 80s or the 90s, so we're immediately honed in.
Mm-hmm.
We know that the television show aired in October of 2000, and so it was found sometime just prior to that. The 40-minute duration does make sense. I mean, this is a claimed number, but if it is a 40-minute duration, it is common in 90s camcorders, looking at combos of batteries and storage. I just looked back at a bunch of cameras, and the average range for a lot of these would be to film for 30 to 60 minutes, and so it does make sense. We're in the realm of reality so far.
Yep.
Now, the video was shot in night vision, which I thought was really interesting because it would help us hone in on a time frame, the mid-90s. Because in 1995, Sony introduced what's called night shot into the first mainstream consumer IR camcorder. It doesn't mean that infrared or night vision cameras weren't available prior to that, but I'm assuming that anyone exploring the catacombs on their own is a regular old Joe. They're not getting, film quality cameras or something less or more than consumer
nothing like
grade.
super insane.
So essentially, we're looking at like a mid to late 90s camera based on the visual details.
You know, it probably picked it up at a Radio Shack.
That or a sharper image.
Oh, sharper, dude. You could have been sharper.
Dude, my memory of Radio Shack was going in needing something very specific.
Very specific.
And despite the piles of cables and things and electronics, they didn't have it. They didn't have that thing I needed.
They never did.
They got adapters and dongles to make it happen for $50 more.
Oh my God, yes, they did.
Like, oh, if you plug this into that and then you convert it over to that thing, then you can do it.
Yep.
Like, great.
Then you go,
great.
all right, maybe I'll try sharper image, or maybe I'll go to Circuit City.
Yeah. This episode of Red Web is sponsored by Rocket Money. With prices going up on just about everything lately, dealing with money can be stressful. Trying to manage subscriptions, track your spending, and cut costs all can feel quite overwhelming. Luckily, Rocket Money can relieve some of that stress and help you feel confident in the financial decisions that you make. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money shows you all the expenses in one place, including subscriptions you forgot about, and if you see a subscription that you no longer want, Rocket Money will help you cancel it. Their dashboard lays out your total financial picture, including bill due dates and pay dates, in a way that's easy to digest. You can even automatically create custom budgets based on your past spending, and they are totally right, Task Force. I use Rocket Money. I know Fredo does as well, and it is super useful. I love the fact that I can put all of my credit cards into one app and seamlessly track it all. It's very transparent. They'll alert you if anything is off, like if you spend more than normal and you can't figure out what that was, it will categorize it for you so you know where you're spending. It is awesome. If you're trying to live by a budget, this app is super easy to use. I highly recommend it. Rocket Money's 5 million members have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, with members saving up to $740 a year when they use all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/redweb today. That's rocketmoney.com/redweb. And to let them know we sent you, rocketmoney.com/redweb. So let's like collapse this down into a bulleted list. So the points for this being potentially real. We have realistic footage with authentic seeming behavior. There's an abrupt ending of somebody who seems terrified or confused. It was never linked to any commercial projects. You know, we've talked about ARGs or people trying to profit off of this stuff, but it wasn't ever linked to a commercial project outside of being on that television show, to be fair. And it did air on television, which did give it a huge initial boost of authenticity. And it is rare, but there is a very short or long, depending on how you look at it, history of people being lost in the catacombs. So a few points in the column of saying, hey, this definitely sits weird with some people. It's also laying on a foundation of an already pretty spooky place with a creepy history. But with that, let's take a look through another lens. Let's analyze it now as a hoax or simply just a fake video. Now, it's unclear if this footage is real, and there's no known records of anyone going missing in the catacombs in the 90s. I think this is a big one, an important one. It's possible that the person who went missing did not tell anyone they were going, considering it was illegal. But at the same time, this doesn't correspond to any sort of known missing persons case. So it could be somebody who doesn't really have any connections in their life that went exploring.
Yeah.
But usually when someone goes missing or ends up dead, there's like, you can say, oh, well, I know Huck Johnson disappeared in the year 1996. Maybe that was him.
Good old Huck. Yeah, it's usually like one person, right? Like you have somebody. Like you may have nobody, but then if you're gone for years on end, you might have like a distant aunt or something like that going, hey, I haven't seen this person and I haven't been able to get in contact with them. So I'm going to report them as missing unless you can help me pop them up somewhere. So,
I mean, everyone's got a landlord looking for the monthly bill.
Oh, that's true too.
Or a bank for your mortgage.
Yeah.
Or a government for your taxes. So so there's always someone, somewhere, looking over you. But either way, I think we need to start with the origin of this footage. It originates from a filmmaker, which I think it can't just be discarded. I also don't want to get too cynical, but it originates from a filmmaker who hasn't disclosed the original source or shown any further portions of this 40-minute tape. I gotta be honest, some of those things just raise a few flags for me. This has led many to conclude that it's possible that Friedland himself created the footage. On top of this, given the timeline we determined for this camcorder, the footage took one of two paths. And this is layering in some assumptions, right? So think of both paths. It was filmed by an unknown man who got lost somewhere in the mid to late 90s, completely invisible and disappeared. Wasn't found, wasn't known. It was eventually discovered by an explorer a few years later. Despite their interest in the catacombs, they never widely shared this footage or claimed it as their own, maybe because of the illegality of exploring, but they themselves never shared it widely with their other cataphiles. Instead, the footage made its way to Friedland, who then managed to get it on television in 2000. So we have a few times, like basically from 1995 to 2000 is where my brain is honed in at, but it could be open more than that. The other path, again, looking maybe through the lens of an Occam's razor, less assumptions. The other path is that Friedland manufactured the footage as a type of art project. The filmmaker then had a few years to get it in front of TV executives and then portrayed it as real. I also, with this in mind, can't ignore the elephant in the room. July 30th, 1999, The Blair Witch Project comes out. Just a year and a half before this hits TV.
Oh. Yeah, but I guess it was filmed before then, right?
Sure.
So it's not like Blair Witch came out and then it was filmed. Like it was filmed before then.
I mean, it could be. It could. There's certainly room for doubt, is all I'm saying, right? You know, maybe September of 1999, you film this stuff, you throw it around, you end up getting it on the TV show a year later. You know, there's time.
There is. Interesting. Yeah, the whole filmmaker aspect is, I mean, look, like I said, it looked like it was a movie. You know what I mean?
It plays just like a movie. He does narrate it. I mean, he is also a filmmaker. You know, listen, if I'm the first man to ever see a thicked up alien step out of one of them, it's going to come down in like a soda can looking thing kind of like Arrival, but it will be branded like an F1 car. It will arrive. It will say Surge on the side because they think it's the 90s.
Right.
And they'll come out and I'll be like, whoa, I see this for real. I'll take a photo.
Yeah.
I'll go straight to the gram. I'll come straight to this podcast. And you guys are
Right
all going to
here.
say, he's got red web. Of course he's faking it. And I'll be like, damn.
Yeah, that's true. yeah. You ain't wrong.
Damn.
You ain't wrong. You know, we're kind of screwed in that sense now that I think about it.
Yeah.
If we were
like,
ever
who's the best person to break aliens? Like, what's the best job?
Oh, man.
I feel like it's got to be like a financial advisor.
Financial advisor. I think it's got to be someone famous, but not necessarily like in the government.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Christian, what do you think? What's the best role that can actually trustworthily break aliens? Because scientists, I feel like it's too on the nose. People wouldn't believe it.
Honestly, I feel like a well-adored celebrity like Keanu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Reeves.
Yeah, people do trust him. Probably will Neil deGrasse Tyson work, or is that just too in the weeds? People would be like, it's trying
No, dude. I just think like it could work because he's an authority in science and space.
People do trust
But
him.
it's also, he's too close to it, you know?
He is very close to it. That's the problem.
Yeah. Oh man, Task Force, let us know what you think. Keanu Reeves is like, that's an S tier pick right there.
That's a really good pick.
He tells me he disappeared in the catacombs or that he saw an alien. I'm believing it. Or as Fredo says, I'm folding. Okay, so let's come back to it. Again, I don't want to fully discredit him just because he's a filmmaker, but a few things do line up, right? I do want to say, it doesn't appear that he made any money in any way from this footage, outside of maybe being spot something for
Right.
being on that episode of TV. His career was not dramatically improved or changed as a result of his appearance on television, but he did, maybe this was the long game, he did end up on Ghost Adventures in 2014, like what, 14 years later.
So far down the line.
Yeah, I mean, he maintained the same story with no differences. We did the same thing with Bob Lazar. When a story is rock solid, it does seem to give it some credence. That or it's just like a simple lie that you maintain. I don't know, right? Task Force, let me know what you think. But I also think that just because his career didn't fundamentally change doesn't mean that it couldn't have been an effort to, right? If Blair Witch is huge and he goes, check this out, mine's real. Blair Witch cut its teeth on marketing it as real. People believed it was real. So this is just another way to do that genre. And so like, again, man, I want it to be real. I want that guy to be okay.
Right.
But like, you have to think what's happening around it. And so
Yeah. The fact that he was a filmmaker, then Blair Witch was getting big around that time, shortly after. Yeah. But he didn't make any money off. I don't know. See, I'm torn.
right, but what if he wanted to? What if his goal was to make money and it just didn't work?
Yeah, that's true. And then it just didn't. See, I'm back. You know what I'm saying? There's like a line in the
Yeah.
middle. I'm stepping one side, I step on the other side, then I step on one side, then I
Yeah.
step on the other.
Either way, though, he definitely heightened it to a point where I'm like, it's definitely still very eerie. Even when he's down there in the episode, he's like, check this out. Turns off the flashlight. See, what do? If you're down here and it's pitch dark like this, you're dead.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not necessarily. I mean, like, your eyes can adjust. Maybe. I don't know. I'll feel the wall, you know? The old way to exit a maze is to just drag your hand along one of the walls and you'll find the exit eventually. I don't know. But like I said, he was led through the catacombs by a cataphile named Lazar Kuntzman. This man is known to be a catacombs explorer. He was interviewed by Wired Magazine, I think, in 2012. And so there's some level of authenticity happening around this Friedland's exploration of the catacombs, but it's unclear when I look at the actual video. The person they've got wellies on, this mysterious cameraman, so that, they know that they're going to get into some puddles, but we don't know if they themselves are experienced. So many point out that the video shows areas deep in the system, though others online have also shared that these locations are not that deep in the video or in the catacombs. Like, many explorers beyond this TV show have found these spots and said it's not that deep. And so this is something that I think almost feels like a smoking gun,
Right,
but maybe not. So when I was watching this clip of the TV show, there is a depth meter on screen. It basically, in the bottom right, they're like, this is how deep below street level they are. It's not how far down the tunnel they are, below street level. And at one point, Friedland and his team are exploring, and it hits 298 feet below street level. And I tried really hard to find any reputable sources that would tell me if the catacombs, even in the unexplored areas, go that deep.
Right.
And I can't find anything. But what I can find is that starting around 160 to 190 feet, give or take, the Seine River is right there. And so if you look at the water table, it's called underground, if any tunnels went below, 200 feet especially, you would very likely be 100% underwater. And so there's no reason why the initial tunnels would have ever been dug down there.
Yeah.
Just because you dig deep enough, even in your yard, you're just going to find water.
Yeah.
So that raises a huge flag for the authenticity. Again, a show is always built to kind of like play into the emotions and lean into it. But that's another thing is like this show was known to lean toward entertainment and not so much, and like kind of leaning into the stories rather than analyzing them, rather than verifying claims. And this is a symptom of that. I don't know. It's kind of a bummer answer for something that admittedly for years I was like, this is so cool. And Christian was like, we could do an episode on it, but you're going to hate one of the theories because it's like,
it's pretty, yeah.
Coincidentally, it holds water.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I said, this was just one that I've been obsessed with this for so long. I'm glad we're finally analyzing. So, okay, let's do what we did before. Let's collapse this theory into quick bullet points. Full footage never released. It's in the hands of a filmmaker with no verifiable source. There are times when the person filming uses their flashlight, by the way. This just came to me, where they're shining it at the ceiling, using the ceiling as a bounce. Because if you're filming with night vision and you shine a flashlight on something, it will blow it out.
Yeah.
The IR sensor is too sensitive. And so the fact that the person is bouncing a light off the ceiling to fill the room with light, that's a filming technique. I gotta be honest, that's what it feels like.
That's advanced enough, dude. That's advanced enough. I mean, we've been in production and it'd take me a second to figure that one out.
The flayed body thing, that's what he does. He shines his light up on the ceiling to illuminate it better.
Damn.
Yeah. There's no police or missing persons report. And like I said, it was on TV. Does lend some credence historically to people, but at the same time, while I love the show, Scariest Places on Earth leans entertainment, less analysis. Many have found these spots in the video, have rediscovered them themselves, and they say these aren't that deep. It would honestly be a little bit difficult to be lost here. And there's been no follow-up investigation beyond the man who owns the footage. So, a few more points in the column of it being fake, more of like not an ARG, but kind of like an art project with the idea of scaring people and kind of having people believe it's real. That's part, I think, of the intent. And with that, I think it worked and did phenomenally.
I agree. Yeah, it just seems like a very intricate project with all the little details. I don't know. Like I don't think we have like a definitive like answer. There's a lot that's mounting towards the case of like, oh, this was a project, a little fun thing.
But like I said, it's one of those internet mysteries that on the surface feels so simple. You watch it and you go, wow, that's morbid. Like I said, grave robbings for morons or whatever, where it's a guy who's telling you how to like pluck the skin off a skull and how he robs graves. And you're like left with this idea of, this is so macabre. It has to be real because who would come up with it? Right. But at the same time, is it real because of these reasons and whatnot? But yeah, another fascinating episode. But dude, part of me is kind of like, I'm excited to have explored this one. But another part of me, the mystery lover in me, is also kind of like a little deflated going, well, if it's fake, at least someone didn't die. But at the same time, like, oh, but I love when things are scary. I love when like there's places that are just terrifying and things can happen.
And there was like found footage and everything. And so I was like, man, this is this is a movie.
Yeah.
In real life. It's so theatrical. And then you break down everything that I'm like, oh, maybe that's why.
Yeah. No, but if nothing else, I had fun kind of going, okay, take my mind back to the 90s. What kind of camcorders are we working with?
Dude, I know, the investigation of like, they filmed for an average of this time. This is the quality, SD footage, 4x3, etc. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Dude, one thing I didn't mention this in the deep analysis task force, but I'll throw it out here as we kind of wrap up the conclusion. I was even trying to pause the video. I was looking at the person's hand as they were manipulating the skull. And then I was looking at Friedland's hand because he literally in the show has the camera on a table connected probably through 15 Radio Shack cables back to the TV. And he's showing the television network, or like that's kind of how he's digitizing it for the TV show. He's showing it on a TV in real time, those clips. And I'm trying to look at his thumbs because like they seem like they might be the same hands, but everything is so low res, there's no way I'll actually be able to tell. But I'm like,
looking at the hands and trying to figure out that they're the same hands.
I'm like, are those the same thumbs? Like, I'm trying to get as much tangible evidence out of this blurry footage as I can. All right. Well, as we come to an end, Task Force, thank you all so much. I want to give a huge shout out to Carlo Rivas as our newest Task Force Elite member. Thank you so much for joining us at redwebpod.com. Lots coming for you this week. We got Ice Bryce Baby as a buff scientist. Thank you for slanging and banging those beakers around.
Oh, yeah.
And then the wet ones. Fredo, get ready with the hit list. This week, it's Azrael and Gavin Day for our squonks. Lots happening in the Red Web sphere. If you want to join us, there's like weekly exclusives, sometimes more than weekly exclusives happening now at redwebpod.com. Last month, one of the biggest hits was Fredo and I sat down and did a commentary over Lake City Quiet Pills. That was an amazing episode to revisit and re-listen to and kind of give you guys a peek behind the scenes as it was our first episode.
A Red Web classic.
Yeah. So if you guys like that kind of stuff, we'd love to maybe do some commentary style recordings in the future, do more of those. So let us know what episodes we should listen to next. But otherwise, Fredo, I'll see you right back here next Monday for yet another mystery.